This is M104 to Midtown 41st Street. Next stop, Convent Avenue and West 129th Street. This stop is Convent Avenue and West 129th Street. Next stop, Morningside Avenue and West 125th Street. This stop is Morningside Avenue and West 125th Street. Next stop, West 125th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. Transfers available to M11, M100, M101, BX15, M101 Limited and M60 SBS. This stop is West 125th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. Next stop, West 125th Street and Old Broadway. This stop is West 125th Street and Old Broadway. Next stop, Broadway and Tiemann Place. Transfer available to M4. This stop is Broadway and Tiemann Place. Next stop, Broadway and LaSalle Street. This stop is Broadway and LaSalle Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 122nd Street. This stop is Broadway and West 122nd Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 119th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 119th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 116th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 116th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 114th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 114th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 112th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 112th Street. Next stop, Broadway and Cathedral Parkway. This stop is Broadway and Cathedral Parkway. Next stop, Broadway and West 108th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 108th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 106th Street. Transfer available to M116. This stop is Broadway and West 106th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 104th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 104th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 102nd Street. This stop is Broadway and West 102nd Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 100th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 100th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 97th Street. Transfers available to the 2 and 3 trains, M106 and M96. This stop is Broadway and West 97th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 94th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 94th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 92nd Street. This stop is Broadway and West 92nd Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 90th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 90th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 88th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 88th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 86th Street. Transfer available to M86 SBS. This stop is Broadway and West 86th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 84th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 84th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 82nd Street. This stop is Broadway and West 82nd Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 79th Street. Transfer available to M79 SBS. This stop is Broadway and West 79th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 76th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 76th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 74th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 74th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 72nd Street. Transfer available to M72. This stop is Broadway and West 72nd Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 70th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 70th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 68th Street. This stop is Broadway and West 68th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 65th Street. Transfer available to the 1 train. This stop is Broadway and West 65th Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 63rd Street. Transfer available to M20. This stop is Broadway and West 63rd Street. Next stop, Broadway and West 61st Street. This stop is Broadway and West 61st Street. Next stop, Columbus Circle and 8th Avenue. Transfers available to the 1, A, B, C, E and D trains, M10, M12, M20, M5 Limited and M7. This stop is Columbus Circle and 8th Avenue. Next stop, 7th Avenue and West 58th Street. Transfers available to the N, Q, R and W trains, M20, M31, M57 and M7. This stop is 7th Avenue and West 58th Street. Next stop, 7th Avenue and West 56th Street. Transfers available to M31, M57, M7 and QM24. This stop is 7th Avenue and West 56th Street. Next stop, 7th Avenue and West 54th Street. This stop is 7th Avenue and West 54th Street. Next stop, 7th Avenue and West 53rd Street. Transfer available to the E train. This stop is 7th Avenue and West 53rd Street. Next stop, 7th Avenue and West 50th Street. Transfers available to the 1, C and D trains and M50. This stop is 7th Avenue and West 50th Street. Next stop, 7th Avenue and West 44th Street. Transfers available to GS, M5 Limited, M55 and M7. This stop is 7th Avenue and West 44th Street. Next stop, 7th Avenue and West 41st Street. Transfers available to the 1, 2, 3, 7, B, D, F, M, N, Q, R and W trains, GS, M20, M42, M5 Limited, M55 and M7. This stop is 7th Avenue and West 41st Street. Next stop, West 41st Street and 8th Avenue. Transfers available to the A, C and D trains, M20, M34A SBS, M42, SIM22 and SIM25. This stop is West 41st Street and 8th Avenue. This is M104 to Midtown 41st Street. Please exit through the rear door.